This is a 120 series Prado, and it's not just this one. There are thousands of these 120 series Prados still getting around Australia, nearly 20 years on. From the suburbs to the Simpson Desert, they're everywhere. So why have these, the 120 series Prado, become so mainstream, so popular? They're everywhere. Why are they the go-to for families, adventurers, tourers and tradies alike? The 120 series Prado launched in Australia in 2003 and ran through to 2009. It followed the 90 series and brought a ton of upgrades, modernised design, more comfort, better engines and stronger off-road credentials. At the time, it was Toyota's sweet spot, big enough to go anywhere and small enough to park at the Woolies car park. It was built on the DNA of the Land Cruiser, but just more compact. Let's talk about engines. The 120 came with a couple of options, including this, the 4-litre petrol V6. But the standout was the 3-litre turbo diesel. They're not exactly fast, but they're tough as nails. These engines regularly clock 400,000+ kilometres on them with basic maintenance. This one has 610,000 kilometres and still drives like new. And that's the thing, Toyota didn't overcomplicate it. They made it work, and they made it work well. The 120 series isn't just reliable, it's capable. Full-time four-wheel drive, centre-lock diffs and a low-range gearing. It's just some of the options they come with, and there's plenty of aftermarket support. So that's why you see so many of these in the Australian bush. In fact, you've probably seen these in the bush more than any other wagon. And that's because they're built on a ladder frame chassis. They can take a beating, and they're actually quite comfortable while they do it. But what if you're not off-roading? What if you need the seats, all 8 of them, and don't want to look like a soccer mum in an old minivan? Even if you never leave the bitumen, the 120 still makes sense. 8 seats, heaps of boot space, rear AC, and a ride that feels something like a car and not a tractor. It's well equipped too. The top spec has power front seats, dual zone climate control, a premium leather interior, wood trim, sunroof and a 6-speaker sound system. And in 2004, for an off-roader, that was pretty darn impressive. But what about majority of the Prados on the road, the GX and GXLs? What keeps people hanging out for those? They're not fancy, but they work. It's the no-nonsense practicality that keeps people hanging out for them. Here's the kicker, even now a well-kept 120 series, almost 20 years on, will cost you anywhere from 15 to 30k. That's insane value retention. Just on Gumtree the other day, there was a couple of 2008 Prados, 350,000 kilometres on the clock, both wanting in excess of 20 grand for them. But why is that? It's because people trust them. And in Australia, trust is everything. Especially when you're 500k's from the nearest servo. Not that these are the most fuel efficient vehicles, or at least not the petrol. This is the petrol model here, and you'll sit at about 14 litres per 100k's. I assume, well, that's assuming it's gone up a bit since it was new. Now, here's the thing, nothing's perfect. Some models reported injected problems, a few cracked dashes, and yes, rust can creep in around the tailgate. But that's not too much of a drama. Parts are well sourced and nowadays fixes and repairs are well documented. So why are there so many Prados still on Australian roads? They're simple, they're reliable, and Australians have noticed and bought them in droves. So if you've got one, hold on to it, look after it. And if you're thinking of buying one, don't wait. The legend of the 120 series Prado is still going strong, and by the looks of it, it doesn't look like it's going to slow down anytime soon. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again in the next one. Bye for now.